which is a decline of around 13%.
Because I remember the dollar million number last quarter, the first quarter was about $250 million or so. And based on that, I mean, many people were assuming that same $250 million for the quarter being as the base number. And that had led to earnings expectations being brought down for this year and the next year as well. So if this number is, I mean, it's actually roughly around that same mark, $250 million if you convert it. So it looks like that is, I mean, there is no change. I'm just saying if there is a change as against what they reported in the first quarter, then there could be some change in the estimates as well. And stocks move based on whether earnings expectations are taken up or, I mean, sort of pulled down.
And, you know, interestingly, last quarter, most of the reaction for Dr. Reddy's came post the conference call. So 6:30 p.m. today, this evening, is when the management will talk to all of the analysts and they'll give their outlook in terms of what's happening, US FTA, as well as what's happening with in terms of pricing pressure. And they had a McNeil contract, which actually came to light only in the post the conference call last time round, which actually ended and impacted the US business. So maybe the street was anticipating a lot worse of a performance for the US business with that McNeil contract.
The margin point, Ekta, I mean, so these are, we're saying it's in, I mean, 17.9 compared to what, our poll of about 18.1.
Yes, I mean, it's barely an adjustment between what the company reports and what analysts finally adjust to. So you can take it as 18% in terms of margin.
Compared to Q1, which was terrible, it was complete write-off, some 13%
But that was because there was Venezuela as well.
That impact.
So you can't really...
Which is kind of normalized in this particular quarter.
It's normalized in this quarter. But remember, for the US markets, that's the reason why you're seeing that margin decline from that 28% same time last year to around 18% this time. But a quick word from Sarabjit, and we're going to wrap up this conversation as well. Sarabjit, your quick take on Dr. Reddy's and what are you recommending in terms of the stock as well?
Overall, if I have to just put it in a snapshot, I guess more or less in line with expectation. I think top line is closer to my estimate, OPM's closer to my estimate. Profit is a tad below my expectation. I need to see why the variation, but it's not that big variation. I guess more or less I would say in line. As far as rating concerned, we are neutral as of now, and we are waiting more clarity in terms of their, I think valuation-wise, they are more or less fairly valued. I guess we are neutral.
Okay. Prakash, just a quick last question. If you have to hear the conference call, what are the key things that you're going to be waiting out for in terms of commentary and what you would like to hear from the management? Would you make your decision more solid post that, or are you quite certain looking at the numbers?
So as I would say, just a 4% improvement on North American numbers from last quarter really is still not, to me, indicative of them being out of the woods. So what's going to be important is how they expect the next 2 quarters and what kind of strategies that they would adopt to do that, because that's a gorilla in the room. And once you have clarity on that, then the Indian numbers would also kind of complement or fall in place. So I'm going to be clearly looking at the stock in case I were to buy in, definitely after the conference call, because the stock has the tendency to slip back very quickly. There's the slightest of disappointment.
Okay, fair enough, Prakash, as well as Sarabjit. We're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us about the Dr. Reddy's numbers. So overall, you can see that it's largely an inline set of numbers. But again, the proof of the pudding is really in the conference call, which will be this evening.
I think, last quarter when they reported Q1 numbers, the stock was 3,800. I mean, so even from the Q1 reporting time, the stock is down about 15-17%.
I think the worst was factored in last quarter, to be fair, because, the conference call had them talk about the McNeil contract being cancelled.
Q1 was the pits. I mean, pretty much all factors.
Yes,
right? So you could have kind of...
And what is actually going to be a positive, something which the street will watch out for is what's happening on the US FTA Srikakulam facility, because Canada Health has already, inspected it just last month. And that seems that there are positive undertones from that. So all of that cumulatively could possibly result in some amount of upside, if the commentary is positive according to analysts. But let's wait and see what happens then.
So let's DRL for you. I mean, the first of the big numbers today. And by the way, it's a long lineup, so tighten your seat belts because it's going to be one after the other. And we haven't heard the first bank earnings so far. But time for a very quick break. On the other side, we focus on the day's big corporate story. I mean, actually, really the story of the year so far. Tata Sons board removes Cyrus Mistry. A lot of developments on that story. Details when we come back. Stay tuned.